Okay, so we had a session on, I think that was on Thursday. Yeah, it was on Thursday by 7. And the name of the book that we're reviewing is the title of the book is The Ultimate Digital Product Manual. By it was compiled by Seller. Seller is an online platform where you can sell your products and services. So they got together a couple of digital creators, and they brought a book. So the top creators in the industry, they have chapters from people like Niger Bramchick, Amber, Elena Afa, Salim King, Damola Oyenepo, and so much more. So the first chapter that we're reading was written by Naomi Osemedwa. Naomi Osemedwa. And her topic that she picked is it's something, it's mindset. And the first thing she talked about was overcoming your existing money limiting beliefs as a digital creator. But just to give a bit of a background, what do we mean by being a digital creator? What that means is that you are creating things that people don't have to see you physically to be able to buy. So, for example, when you create an ebook, your ebook is a digital product because you don't have to be thinking of the logistics of shipping it, etc. And we are going to be seeing more digital products because we are in the digital economy. And a lot of us are thinking and asking, what other streams of income can I explore? Particularly for those that are in paid employment. You're thinking maybe you know that you are not working 24 hours a day. So you probably are able to devote about 2 hours to something other than your regular job. But you know that you can't go and use those 2 hours to go and get another job that you have to go physically to, because the time it will take to get there, the time it will take to do other things as in associated with the job may not make it an attractive option, particularly in our clients. I know that there's some people outside the country that everyone knows that they are running 3 jobs or 4 jobs, but somehow in our Nigerian economy, that's not it's not a thing. So once you've got that one job, a lot of people expect you there, but we know that there are quite a number of people that are underemployed. So their work, actually, I had a colleague once that my boss caught. He was sleeping. I think he was watching a movie. Yes, at work. I know there was just this outrage to say, how can you be watching a movie? But I had to ask that, what have we done to keep him engaged? Most likely, the work we gave him was, I think, it was above his head. If he was going to deliver anything. And so he just decided to see a movie instead. And funny thing, I was on LinkedIn earlier this week or something, maybe yesterday, because this week just started. Yeah, yesterday was still earlier this week. And there was I think it was last week, and there was a question about that would you stream content during work hours, like watch a movie on Netflix, etc. during work hours. I think it really would be nice to have a conversation around that. I think I'll post that on the CTM professional group. Let's all have a chat about it. But anyway, we know that people are not, when they are at work, they're not spending their 100% working. So how about we encourage people to start creating digital products? You can write, it has happened to me before. I was in a boring meeting, and in that boring meeting, the period of that boring meeting, I wrote a chapter of a book, chapter, just from sitting down and trying not to fall asleep. So, we just want to talk more about the option of creating digital products and then selling them. So, the first chapter is about mindset. And so the first topic she picks is overcoming your existing money limiting beliefs as a digital creator. And she says that the first thing that stood out to me while reading through this, she's because like, what do I know about money? Is what I know about money true? And if what I know about money is true, Sorry, please, I need to quickly attend to someone that is having challenges with the code. Okay, sorry, I'm back. Okay, so the first question is what do I know about money? Then it's what I know about money true. And if what you know about money is not true, then you have to start to unlearn and relearn. You know, of us, if I ask why have you not started doing something apart from the regular day job, I'll really be interested in the answer. So if you can drop it in the chat room, I'll read it out. But for a good number of people that have asked, we've just been raised with this mindset that once you have that job, you spend 35 years there, and they're supposed to give you everything you need at that job, and that's where your money has to come. Your financial needs are going to be met. I know we have some cases in where I used to work before. I had quite a number of colleagues that used to complain about the salary, that will complain about everything. And in my mind, I'm like, why don't you get another job? You feel like, oh, why don't you do something else? But I just got the mind. They feel from them that somehow they just believe that once they are loyal to one company, the company is going to meet all their needs. And limiting belief about money, look a bit more into. There's an option to create digital products. Yes, it takes some time for you to create the product, but once you created it, you can put it in a system where you not able to put too much. Okay, so what do I know about money? It's something that I would like everyone to sit to ask themselves, and hopefully people will tell us, what do you know about money? And what you know about money, have you validated what you know about money? For me, for a long time, my thinking about money is that I know money is an exchange for value, yes, but the question always for me was, what do I have that is valuable that people are willing to pay for? So my question, the question to me means, what do I think about, or what do I know about my value? What value am I bringing to the table? And for a long time, yes, I'm an engineer, so what has been the value I've been focused on. I know that I just always used to pray for multiple streams of income. So I was not to be dependent on just one stream. And I believe was attending quite a number of seminars. Multiple streams of income was a cliche for me. It was a cliche. It sounded good. How am I going to be able to do it along with my day job that requires me to spend 15 hours per day? And I have to now start having honest conversations with myself that this job that I've taken requires about 15 hours. But to be honest, they cannot afford to pay for 15 hours of my time. So how do we balance it? Because I'm the kind of person that I don't like to do a shoddy job. So of course, obviously, initially I had a very lopsided, uh, would I say, a lopsided attitude to work, in the sense that I'll spend hours and hours doing work because I want to do work at the quality that makes me happy. But I had to realize that I can't spend all that time and expect to get remunerated.
Have a busy soup and noodles and rice.
To be remunerated.
I could say you have a busy soup
So I'm going to
and
have to
rice.
mute
A
you.
busy soup. You go and chop wait.
Okay, sorry, but so I realized that I couldn't afford to devote the time I needed to do the work. So there was a bit of a conflict for me because the pay was not justifying the amount of work that I was putting in. But I also knew that I couldn't afford to do less of what, as in I couldn't put out the type of quality that I'll be ashamed of after a couple of years. So eventually, of course, with a lot of prayer and all of that, I was able to look at processes and things that I could put in place that will make things a bit more, that will reduce the amount of time I will take to deliver on the process. And then in the last session, there was something else I mentioned that I think I'd like to mention here. I mentioned there that when we, for example, for some of us, you like to hand wash your clothes yourself, etc. But the time you're spending doing those things, at this time, so those things they're important here, but some of them are lower level work. That if you could delegate them to someone else to do them with a bit of supervision from you, or from you, you can then devote your time to higher value tasks. Or for some of us at work, you have people that report to you, they brought an IT student to you, and you are you are spending time doing work, and you're not the IT student is sitting down there not learning because you are just not able to trust anyone else because in your mind you're the only one that can do it. But I had the experience where I had an IT student. She was still in school at the time, was in a 400 level. And she was sent to me for me to teach because she was there for internships. But I started giving her tasks. I showed her how to write reports. And before long, she was writing reports far better than my people that were actually paid to do the job. And it was by the time it was time for us to go, it was like I wanted to tell her that see, there's nothing you're going to go and do in school that you haven't learned. Come and continue working as it is. But it's only because I started learning. So, as I was able to give her those tasks and check a few times, my time was freed up. So the time I would spend teaching her again was also valuable to me because she was doing work that was valuable to me. So the teaching was for me to show her that this is what she could have done better. And it was a very, very rewarding experience for me. So what I like to say is that for regarding what I know and my mindset about money, I believe that I'm getting more liberated in the sense that I know that my time is money. And so I have to learn to use my time for higher value tasks and learn to delegate which tasks are not giving me the type of value I need. So that's one of the things. So she wrote there that the whole thing about mindset has to do with the following things: learning what you're conscious of, unlearning what is not true, and relearning what is not right. Sorry, relearning what is right. Then she goes on to share her personal story about the limiting beliefs that she had to overcome personally. Okay, so for her name is Naomi, and so she said that before she became a creator, a digital creator, she had to deal with quite a lot of her own personal demons. That there were things that she had to deal with while growing up. She had developed low self-esteem from being called fat, and then she ran away from home at the age of 22. By the age of 31, she was a divorced single mom. She had a lot of labels on her. And I'm sure if I go around the room and I ask everyone, we all have that thing that makes us say that, me that I'm saying I want to go into business, is it my type that will go into business? Is it my type that will create products that people want to buy? Some people go like, my story is not so spectacular. It seems like these days, if you were not raped as a child or abused somewhere, etc., your story is not sweet. But the truth of the matter is that, however everyone still has value they're bringing to the table. And I remember I was in a meet. No, I was doing the replay of a meeting I missed, and someone was talking about the blue ocean strategy. So the blue ocean strategy is it's actually the title of a book. And basically, the idea is that when you're playing in the red oceans, that's where everyone is. That's what everyone is doing the same thing. That's where the sharks are and people are getting beaten and there's a lot of blood. So that's what colors the ocean as red because you're doing what everyone is doing. But when you are in the blue ocean, in blue oceans, you have found a more or less like a niche that other people cannot. Please confirm that you can hear me properly so that I'm sure that I'm not speaking to myself. Can you
Yes,
hear
I can
me?
hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. And it's okay. Okay, so so we're talking about limiting mindset. So you could go into, so a lot of us, when we say, okay, for example, I want to create digital products, you think, oh, what's the most, which one is selling? And then, you just go that way, as opposed to finding what is best for you. Because it's possible that what is selling is uh, courses, for example, because those are also digital products and online courses or maybe one-on-one courses. But the truth of the matter is that you as a person, you don't have time because you are on that job that requires you to spend maybe for 4 days or 5 days, you have to spend 15 hours of your day working. So you can't really devote time to do one-on-ones. But because everybody is saying one-on-one coaching is where the money is, you now begin to you go in straight and then you just get done, as opposed to finding out what really works for you personally. What is Because what works for A does not necessarily work for B. So anyway, going back to what she was saying, she was talking about the different labels that she had on her and how they affected her and how she viewed herself. So she said she finally decided to work on her mindset. And I think it's a task for each of us to go and ask, what are the things that are the underlying things that make you do what you do? For some of us, it's the fear of being broke. That's what is driving us. That's what is driving our decisions. It took me a while as well to see that for me, one of the issues I was dealing with was that because I had to wake up early, I had to wake up early to be able to make it to work where I used to work. It affected the way my previous day was. So, if you're talking to me and you're taking too long, you're wasting my time. And I'm just thinking of how that conversation we're having is going to impact on my bedtime. I know there were if you tell me that your meeting is by 9 p.m., I'm not showing up because I'm asleep because I want to wake up. If you are telling me let's go somewhere by 5 p.m., I'm not going because I'm thinking of when I'm going to come back because of my bedtime. So while there were positives to that, there were also a few opportunities that we believe I missed because I was so rigid. I wasn't flexible with that at all because there was never an option for me to go late or for me to just believe that I could sleep later and wake up at the right time and all of that. So sometimes the limiting mindset, it requires a lot under for you to uncover because it could be hidden under different layers. So for me, a lot of relationships suffer because you're trying to talk to me and I'm looking at the clock. Because once whatever you're saying is already going beyond 7, I've already switched off. Because I know that by 7, I need to go and start making dinner. Because I need to do, everything falls in place so that by 9 I'm asleep. I still sleep by 9 most of the time these days, but I try not to be as rigid. So anyway, you need to by yourself figure out what are the things in your mindset that are driving you that affect how you relate to people. To eventually, in this case, we are focusing on money. On money. So anyway, she shared her own quotes as a way of reminding herself that she's the light of the world and that her message is for a global audience. So the question she asked is, why do you want to be global when you can be global? It takes me back to a conversation I had today. So the person was telling me that she helps people that write tests, physical, they will come to our place and she will teach them etc. And I asked her, have you ever considered doing this online? She was like, oh no, no, she didn't because it was just that she taught somebody, the person thought it was fantastic, and then referred people. I've also heard someone say that her business the stuff. She sells a fast-moving consumer product or fast-moving consumer products, and she was like, most of our clients that buy in bulk have jackpot that she doesn't know where she's going to start from again. And because you have built your your mansion on having the local people, on people based on your person, which is not always totally bad, because they give you social proof, etc. But you need to set up your business, particularly in these days that we are in. You can't afford to stay with a local business that is just based on, well, the people in the neighborhood know me. It's because the people in the neighborhood are planning to japa. New people are coming. You have to build those relationships again. But if you set yourself up to be ready to attend to a global audience, you're digitally savvy, then your likelihood of continuing to have customers. Because in some cases, even when people have traveled abroad or something, they feel like you're you're agile enough. You can always they still know. Okay, I'm going to backtrack. I'll talk about someone else that in this day and age she's offering a product that can be offered online. She doesn't have WhatsApp, doesn't have a phone that has WhatsApp. She doesn't have an email. You can only call her on the phone using voice calls. And I'm like, really, I'm not sure you're ready for this age that we're in. Because the stuff that the services that you call her and send her, maybe send all my documents to her via WhatsApp. She does all the work she has to do, and then she scans back to me. The stuff that she could do if she decides to set herself up that way, but she has set herself up so that people have to come physically to her where she is, then spend all that time, get stuck in traffic because they are trying to get to her etc. So I think we all need to take time to ask ourselves in our processes that we have, is there anything that I can do to make it easy for people to be able to reach me online? The first session we had, I promised that I didn't want to be the only one talking. I started talking because uh, I was probably two, and the other person had already told me that she hadn't read the book. So now I'm going to ask, is there anyone that has read the book and has anything to share with us? Please, can you
Yeah,
just signify
I,
to me? Please go ahead.
can you
Please
hear
go
me?
ahead. You have the floor. Yes, I can hear you.
I actually started reading the book, but I'm yet to finish because it came in between work. But I'll take time to read it up and read it to the end.
Okay, but I'm hoping that you can share from what you've already read. So I don't want to, okay, I didn't say this as well in today's session. I was saying that in the other session, I'd said that, you see some people, particularly Christians, they'll tell you that, oh, I've read the Bible from cover to cover. And then maybe so they've done it that they read 4 chapters in a day and they speed read because they have a target of reading 4 chapters in a day, but they don't take any lessons because they are trying to hit their target of 4 chapters in a day. So they haven't taken time to really digest. So I said that what I would like us to do with this book review is not to meet the target of that, oh, I read a chapter a day. But what we're going to be doing instead is that, oh, I picked this point, and this point, and I'm going to implement it. And then I'll be able to say that as a result of going through this book, this is what I was able to learn this week. So whether you finish the chapter or not is not the target. The target is for you to pick lessons that you're going to implement. So I would like to just set that tone. So if it's going to take us 10 sessions to finish chapter one, it's fine by me. I'm not trying to finish the book on time. We don't have a time target. We have an impact target to go through. Okay, so with that, so I'll ask Mr. Shitu, do you have anything you want to share with us from the few pages that you have read?
I'll I'll share at the end of of the session. I'll be able
Okay,
to share
so
something at the end of the session. Yeah,
you're not ready to share yet,
not at the moment.
not at the moment. Thank you. So is there anyone else that would like to share? Because I only started talking because I was the first person here. So if there's anyone else that would like to say anything, please raise up your hand and and you have the floor. Thank you. Okay, so I'll go back to what she was saying, which was why be local when you can be global. And a lot of us we've received those sermons when we were younger to see we're made for more, we're made for the world to see. But with all the things that can happen to us in life, we started looking at it that am I really sure that that was for me, or is that just a generic thing? But I believe that the world is big enough to accommodate every one of us. We all have something. Of course, I'm a Christian, so I believe that God sent each one of us with something unique in us that our world needs to experience. And for many of us, we need to express ourselves through our books. Okay, so I know that not everyone here is a Christian, but I'll share something that I found out yesterday. Uh, well, over the course, I found out one yesterday, but I found out one a few weeks before. I know many of us know Catherine Coleman, and I know that many of us know Archbishop Benson Idahosa. And if I ask you about both of them, you tell me about how they were great evangelists and all of that. But I discovered yesterday that Catherine Coleman used to actually host a talk show. She used to host a talk show, and I watched a session of where she interviewed Sid Roth. Sid Roth is now has his own talk show. And also Sid Roth at 81 was watching himself when he was interviewed by Catherine Coleman at 31. So when I first saw the title, I thought it was Sid Roth that interviewed Catherine Coleman. So I just stumbled on it on YouTube, and I realized that wow, that so there were so many parts to this woman that we were not taught. And then, like a few weeks before, I had seen a clip where Archbishop Benson, I didn't even know it was Archbishop Benson in the house. I just saw that it was someone, some young man I know with the Burns of those days and all of that, that had gone to interview her Elton, who was, I think he was one of the British missionaries that stayed in Nigeria till he died. So I finally discovered that it was Archbishop Benson Idahosa that was the interviewer. And the reason why I'm sharing that is that, for us, many of us, we believe that ministry is just when you are preaching on the set, on the pulpit, etc. But for these people, they were able to preserve the culture of their day through their talk and all. They were able to penetrate and spread their gospel without having to take a pulpit. And I'm bringing that back to why be local when you can be global. There's something in you that the world needs to experience. It's not until you take a pulpit before you share it. Being a digital creator is one of the most fantastic ways to share your gift with the world without having to do too much. So I think we are really privileged. Now, again, one thing I've discovered is that many of us don't understand the power of the media. These people have been dead for so many years, but we are still able to go back and I'm still able to see an interview that Catherine Coleman did back in 1972. I can watch it and see her as she's talking, etc. And I think at the time, Sidworth was saying that she was saying that she wanted to take media really seriously, and she didn't want to just do any type of issue where she was. So they went to work. So they went into one of the best studios in Hollywood to have that interview, and you could see from the way things were set up that it was quite posh for a 1972 video. So since I saw this local when you can be global, I just want to chip that in. Okay, then, so she said earning $1 million is a great feat, but if you feel comfortable just earning $1 million, that is a mindset block right there. So she says, I believe there is always room for more. You can earn 10 million, 100 million, and even a billion. What I would just like to add to that is that one just needs to be careful so that you're not giving yourself work that you were not sent. So while it's good to aspire for more, I think you should aspire for more. It shouldn't be that you are just aspiring for 10 million just because you don't want to stay in 1 million. There has to be purpose tied to it. So but anyway, she's saying, so don't be scared to aim higher and reach for more. And so what got me started is not what has gotten me here. I put in a lot of work before I became a creator. And even now, after becoming a creator, I still constantly put in work. So again, it's important to work. But it's just that some people will work hard and some people will work smart. It's up to you to choose which one you want. Do you want to work hard or do you want to work smart? That's up to you. And just as an example, the people that work hard, they will decide that they want to do hand sketches with their own hand and sketch, which I believe has a place. Or someone else can decide I want to use an app to still get the sketch in earlier. I believe that everyone has their target. But for example, for a digital creator, I probably would say that you probably should spend time quickly using the app because it does the work faster. But if you're thinking that you just want to sell hand painted art, in that case, it's not a digital product. Just know that you're selling a physical product. But if you're thinking of doing it digitally, I would just recommend that you spend less time to get to the market by using apps. Apps sometimes make your work easier and faster. So it'll be up to you to decide at that point. So anyway, she says, while I celebrate my wins, I remain conscious of the fact that a new level of growth demands increased capacity along with the ability to think bigger and more positive. So the question for everyone here is, what first of all, have you discovered your purpose, the place you want to play? And if the answer is yes, more often than not, in fact, there are probably some skill gaps you have. There are some things there are some gaps you need to close so that you can begin to play, because a lot of us, we have this, oh, I want to be a global ambassador. I want to be global. But your skills are local. Honestly, you haven't added more to yourself. So you have the latent ability to be global. You have the ability, the capacity, sorry, but you haven't increased the skills that you need. So maybe for some of us, it will be the way we speak. For some of us, we may need to brush up our skills in speaking. And I'm speaking to myself. I remember having a chat with Brian at some point, and I told him that I wanted to be a voiceover artist. And I'm thankful to him for being honest to me. Okay, he wasn't brutally honest, but he was honest. And he told me, he listened to some of my voice notes, and he told me that you still have to work on this, and this. And I was quite grateful for that. So of course, I've put my plans of becoming a voiceover artist somewhere that I will go back and pick at some point, because I know I'm not there yet. But it really would be funny for me to expect that, or because I've thought that I want to be a voiceover artist and I want to work for the BBC, and then I'm still speaking the way I'm speaking now, and I'm expecting BBC to come and pick me. I don't think I'm being what do you call it? I don't think I'm trying. I'm not honest with myself. And also, I want to stop at this. I'm going to read the next paragraph. In this part of the world, a lot of digital creators don't believe that they can create a product to serve other parts of the world because of their access, skin color, and other barriers. Don't just no. You have to first of all believe that what you have to offer is needed by the global market. This mindset will shape the way you create and also how you show up. It will shape how you put your stories out there, because you will start thinking about how someone from outside your location relates to your narrative. So I think that already explains itself, because I already took some time to talk about it. So some people let's use the author for an example, the author that writes, and the person decides that they want to write a story about Africa. And so there are two schools of thought. So maybe you want to write about Opa. Some people have the school of thought that once you write the Opa, you should not translate. should leave them, let the reader go and research and understand what OPA is about. But some other people have the mindset that you should be friendly with your audience and maybe take some time to explain to them that this is OPA and educate them, maybe give them a bit of, maybe try to relate it with something they already know, because you're trying to reach a global audience. Or maybe you take a picture of OPA, tell us the parts of the country where you can find it, and do a bit of talk about the OPA. So I would like to hear from you on which you think makes more sense. If I, as a digital creator, if I'm writing an ebook now, and then maybe I just want to say that gift had some OPA, and I don't know what else goes with OPA. Should I be explaining to people and be showing them that this is what OPA looks like? These are the benefits of the OPA and etc. Or should I just expect them once they read OPA for them their curiosity to pick to get them to go and deal and learn more about it? So that's going to be the end of my conversation, which leads to other conversations. So please, if you'd like to speak, I'll need you to please raise your hand so that I can ask you to unmute. Any speakers?
Not yet. Uh, I'm still listening.
Okay,
Once
so if
I'm
I'm
able
done
to stop,
speaking,
once I stop, I'm in transit, so once I stop, I'll be able to talk more.
all right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak, please? So you can start off with my question, which is that as an author writing an ebook, if I want to talk about something that is native to Nigeria or to the Southwest, do I need to explain to my audience what it's about, or do I just leave them to go and do their own research? So, do I have anyone ready to talk about that and other things, or should we wait for Shitu? Hello.
Let me give an insight to this.
Okay.
You might hear some noise in the background, but no problem. So
It's not.
on this, if you're talking about the Southwest and you're writing in English, the assumption is that everybody in the Southwest speaks Yoruba, but it is not always that way. So because there are many people who are resident in the Southwest but don't speak Yoruba, or they only understand a little of it. So your writing should be self-explanatory enough to cater for people outside Southwest. Because one of the ways that your creative content can outlast you is if, for example, it can be translated. So you've written something in English and people can translate to Yoruba, to Spanish, to French, and other forms. So that way, even when you are no longer alive, that thing you have created outlasts you, like it becomes useful to people from across the world. But if you've written something for people within a specific region, well, it will benefit them, but it may not be able to go beyond that region it is specified for. So that's my take on that.
I think I like your perspective in the sense that if you insist that you want to write in your local language, that means you've decided to stay local and you shouldn't be getting upset if global audience does not warm up to your idea or if it doesn't outlast you. I
Exactly.
wanted to talk about one movie, but I don't want to start trouble. So let me just. But some people said that when they watched it in English, that they found out that the English was dubbed over it, that they didn't quite enjoy it as much as when they watched it in English, and then there was a subtitle in English. But I think that's another conversation for another day about should we continue our should we continue with our native languages and subtitle, or should we write English and see how we can add a few spices of local language. I'd like you to think about that, and in one of our other sessions, we can talk more about it. So is there anyone else that would like to say anything while we're waiting for Mr. Shito to get to a good place? Share. Hello. I don't want to call names, but I may be tempted to. I can see chat. Okay, yeah, so this from Gift. So Gift says, I think you need to describe what you're writing about so other people outside your region or locality can understand and grasp easily your content. Yeah, so I lean towards that, but so I've heard some people saying that you have some authors that don't go out of their way to explain and we still give them the applause. But I think the points that both of you have raised first to help people outside the locality because you are writing for an audience. The audience is not reading for you. And then there also the point that Shitu had brought up, which is that for it to outlast you, because particularly any things that were written in King James English, for example, for a couple of us, we can't relate because some of the things that they wrote there don't mean anything again in the but but I think it's easier because maybe they had used some language to give us something that we can then go back and say, oh, they talked about the lily. What does the lily look like? And then it gives us a bit of a perspective. So if you're expecting your work to outlast you, you need to leave clues for people that are outside to be able to come into your brain and understand what you were thinking when you put that stuff. Okay, so I'm actually done with saying what I want to say, but I really also want to hear what Mr. Shitu has to say. So I was wondering, Mr. Shitu, is it possible for you to speak while you're in transit?
Yeah, maybe in 2 minutes or thereabouts. In 2 minutes, I
Okay,
should be
so
able
we
to.
should wait for you for 2 minutes. Or is there
Yes, please.
anyone else that wants to speak before then? Hello? Oh, well, looks like we'll wait for him before we end the call. So
What I picked, uh, what I picked from the initial was okay. So usually I'll just scan through the document before I take a close reading. What I did was just to sample, the nuggets of the book itself. Um, what I realized is one of the major driving factors to success is mindset. If you believe you can, then most likely you will be able to. So that was one of the chapters that was highlighted. I read through it. I find it instructive. Another chapter was that of ideation. Now, for me, most times, if you don't think through a product and see how it works for the consumer, most times what happens is that you create a product or a service for people who don't need it, or you create a product with yourself in mind instead of your consumers in mind. So if your ideation process works fine, then it means that you'll be able to run through all the needs that that product or that service would offer. So those are the areas that I kind of picked uh, nudges from as quickly as I could. The rest, when I take time to digest all the content, then I'll be able to summarize the entire book.
thank you so much for your quick insights. It is really well appreciated.
You're welcome.
If anyone else has anything to say, please let us know. Otherwise, I would like us to bring this session to a close as I thank everyone for their time. It's been a useful hour for me. I'm grateful. Thank you for joining us. Okay. So